Hey, what's up, guys? This is Sir Michael. Welcome to the Sir Michael Singleton Show. And Elon Musk was in the Oval Office with President Trump. And man, he had a lot to say about a lot of the waste that he's finding in the federal government. Let's roll the clip and we'll talk about it in between.
We do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from.
Let's pause. I mean, look, that's a good point that Elon Musk is making, right? Like, how does someone who make $100,000, $150,000 a year have a net worth of 10, 15 million, some of them probably even $20 million, unless they're getting some type of kickbacks or there's something weird and nefarious going on? It just seems to be a huge leap and a jump for someone with, regular six-figure salary living in Washington, D.C., where the average houses are 800,000 and above, and all of a sudden they have net worths of 5, 10, 15, again, some as high as $20 million. Seems really, really strange. You guys got to be wondering, what in the world are they doing with people's taxpayer dollars? I'm wondering. It is not unknown and uncommon. I work in politics for people to get kickbacks. They help out their friends, and then their friends put a little something on the side for them. That's not uncommon in politics, but I don't necessarily know if it's something that we would want to occur with an agency that's getting $50 billion in taxpayer dollars in the case of USAID, as Elon Musk just mentioned. But let's roll tape.
Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from?
Pause. That's the big question. As I was just saying, why? I mean, how does someone that's only making $100,000 to $150,000 mysteriously become super rich? And by super rich, I mean, again, net worth of a couple $1 million, between $5 and $20 million is a lot of money. That's well beyond what the average American has. And in fact, that puts you in like the top, 5% net worth earners in this entire country. Yet you have a salary that doesn't equate to the net worth that you have, living in $1 million houses, taking vacations all over the place, sometimes even having multiple properties across the U.S. or even out of the U.S. It just seems weird. And the fact that Elon Musk and DOGE are finding this, it certainly gives pause, and it lets us know that if this is going on at one particular agency, imagine what we're likely seeing across the federal government. A lot of these people get kickbacks, as I was saying. Sometimes they will pass on these special projects to their friends, even their family members. They'll give contracts to, and again, they'll put something on the side for some of them, and they slowly, use this money for their own personal reasons. I don't know if it's necessarily illegal, but it certainly raises ethical questions. If someone is over a particular budget or they're higher up at an agency, do you want that person giving deals to their family members and their best friends while they're getting kickbacks on the side, sometimes hundreds of thousands or $1 million+ dollars? Probably not. And that's some of the stuff that Elon Musk is finding. And I'm telling you, he's going to find a lot of this throughout government. It is a commonality in Washington, D.C. Let's roll tape.
I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. The Treasury, for example. Basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things.
Pause the tape. So this is interesting, right? Because Elon Musk is really talking like a businessman. I mean, he's the richest guy in the world, and he's talking about payment categorizing, which is really important. So if you're paying for supplies for something in the office, you're paying for travel or salaries, each of those payments will be separate line items on an overall budget. If you run a business, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you do that for a number of reasons: to see how much you're spending in certain places. If you're overspending, if there's some potential waste, you want to know where that waste is. So you're going to categorize that spending so that you can also assign specific budgets to each of those categories. Then he talks about describing the payments. And this is kind of strange to me that Treasury doesn't do this. I mean, Treasury spends, $6 trillion every single year of your money, taxpayer money, and they're not even categorizing or describing rather the payments. So they're just issuing payments, and we don't even know what the payments are for. So it's like, all right, here's a $100 million payment for this, but we don't really know what it's for, but we know where it's going. Maybe we know where it's going. I mean, it just seems really weird. And so it's impossible to really stop any type of fraud, waste, and abuse if you're not categorizing payments or if you're not even describing what the payments actually are. So you can have some nefarious actors out there who probably shouldn't be getting paid anymore, or maybe they're getting paid more than what they probably should get paid. There's no way to know that if we're not, again, categorizing or even describing what the payments are. Elon Musk is right. This is not an efficient nor an effective way to use taxpayer dollars. It's a wasteful way, and it's a way that allows fraud and abuse to exist at some extreme levels. Let's rotate.
Things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks.
Let's pause tape. So, Democrats have talked a lot about Elon Musk is not finding any waste or fraud and abuse in the federal government. And here he is talking about how the Treasury Department, which is, again, they're the payment processor, they pay all the bills for the United States government. They're issuing just blank checks essentially to entities out there, and we have no way of knowing how much, who they are, et cetera. That's not a good sign and should not instill confidence. Even in Congress, Congress holds the purse. They pass the budgets. They at a minimum should say, wait a minute here. This is crazy. Let's pause the brakes. You mean to tell me that we're just spending money all willy-nilly? We don't know how much we're spending. We don't know where all the money is going. And we've been doing this for how long? And we're spending beyond what we probably should be spending in some of these categories, which again is the point that Elon Musk is making. We need to pause all spending. Let's do an analysis and assessment of spending, what they would call a forensics assessment. Essentially, you have an outside accounting firm, really, that would take a look at the books and go through line by line to see where every single payment is going. And they will find and reveal to the government in this case, which is essentially what DOGE is doing. They're being like a forensic accounting services here to say, wait a minute, you guys are spending too much. You're wasting too much money. Here's where that money is going. Here are the entities and individuals who are committing fraud, maybe even some illegal action. You need to get rid of them, handle them through the legal process. And this is how much money we can save on the front end and even the back end. That's what DOGE is doing. That's what Elon Musk is doing. You would think that members of Congress would be all in on this, but a lot of the Democrats have been incredibly critical. They've accused Musk of fraud. They've accused him of stealing from the taxpayers. They've even said that this is a constitutional crisis. A lot of the mainstream media says this is a constitutional crisis. That's not the case at all. Elon Musk is revealing that we have a federal government that spends money in ways that no business, no household could operate. It's just impossible. And yet, this is the way our government has operated for a long, long time. If you're with me, you're probably like, enough is enough. But let's rotate.
You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known...
Let's pause. So you have this do not pay list, and the do not pay list, as Musk was just saying in the video, these are terrorist groups, et cetera. Groups that the United States government have stated that we shouldn't pay them for some nefarious reasons, or maybe, the agreement or relationship has come to an end or soured a little bit, so we're going to pause or just stop payment altogether. Well, it takes so long for Treasury to even be aware of this. It can be up to a year that we're still paying hundreds of millions or millions of dollars to terrorist organizations. I mean, that's absolutely insane. And considering the massive amount of technology that is at our fingertips today, why in the world does it take so long to stop processing payments for people who shouldn't get the payments? It just seems kind of weird to me, and it would make common sense to use the technology at our fingertips to expedite this process, make it more efficient, speed it up so that we're not wasting your money. Let's rotate.
Fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation can take up to a year to get on the list. And even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing.
So listen to what Elon Musk is saying. They will put you on the list to say, hey, don't pay this person or this group or this entity, or hell, maybe even this country. And then they don't even use the list. So it takes a year to get on the list. You're on the list. It doesn't really matter if you make it on the list because the U.S. is going to keep paying you anyway. I mean, that's just crazy, man. I just can't imagine the rationale behind something like that. And just imagine how much money is being wasted on that alone. And Musk, mentioned a terrorist organization. Who in the world would want to keep paying a terrorist group? Like maybe at once upon a time, it was a proxy group that the U.S. was sort of putting money behind because we were trying to be a silent actor in some random part of the world. But then that group has now become antagonistic against the U.S. So now we want to stop payments. Well, what Musk is saying, it doesn't matter if we want to stop payments. We would essentially keep paying that group, even if they're acting in a way that jeopardizes the lives of Americans. That, again, should be a complete pause in all spending. Let's figure out what in the heck is going on. This is not the way. Let's roll tape.
What we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. There's crazy things.
Musk is right what he's saying. He said that taxpayer dollars, your money, should be spent wisely. And he's right. We work hard. All of you guys work hard. You work 40, 60, 70, 80 hours a week. You don't bring home most of your paycheck. And if you live in some places, you also are taxed like crazy from your state. So a lot of this money that you're making is going either to the federal government or to the state. You're not really seeing any of it. And it's no wonder why when people look around their communities, you see potholes all over the place. It's no wonder why when you want to rely on whether it's state agencies or federal agencies, it takes them a long time to respond. And when they do respond, the response is lackluster and deficient in terms of solving your problem. Well, this is why. Because the money isn't spent wisely. And as Musk is saying, the Treasury acts as if, well, they don't want to hear any complaints from anybody, so let's just pay them. Let's just keep paying them. But I was saying, well, wait a minute. They're complaining. Okay, so what? But should we be paying them what we're paying them? Or should we pause and make sure that the execution is well? Like, okay, we're paying you. Are you executing well with the money that we're giving you? Are you serving the American people at the optimum levels? And if you're not, then we're going to reduce some of the payment, and we're going to pause the payment altogether until you get your act in order. That's not what Treasury is doing. And that's why Musk is saying that they're finding some really, really damaging things here. But let's roll tape.
It's like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay.
Pause tape. I mean, when Musk said this, I thought that was so crazy. The fact that they found people that are getting Social Security that are 150 years old. Guys, I wish I could live to be 150 years old. I think everybody would. But none of us know a person alive today that's 150 years old. So why is a person like that still on the roster to get payments from Social Security? Again, this just goes to show you how broken this system actually is. And there's nobody out there trying to fix it. And here comes Elon Musk that's finding all of these troubling and damaging things, saying we have to do something about this. Shouldn't Democrats and the rest of members of Congress get on board to say, look, maybe we don't agree with everything Elon Musk is doing here, but on this front, we're going to stand behind him because the people deserve so much better with their hard-earned cash. Let's rotate.
They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So that's a case where, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous.
I think Elon Musk is right about that. They are probably dead, or they would be the most famous person in the world. I mean, 150 years old is like, come on. Either you're famous and we all know about you, Guinness World Record holder, or you're dead and they're dead and still on the roster. I mean, this just is insane, but let's rotate.
Payments where there's no identifying information. Well, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it.
Pause. That was really important. And I'm so glad he said that, because the Democrats for the past couple of days now have said Elon Musk and Donald Trump and Republicans are going to take Social Security away. And we just heard Elon Musk say people who are on Social Security and who rely on Social Security deserve to get their payments. But what we don't want to do is pay people who are undeserving of the payments because they're not alive. That doesn't make sense. We also don't want to have a undue stress on Social Security payments so that people aren't able to get everything that they deserve out of the system. And so right there on the record, he's saying for people who deserve this, they should get their payments. But we shouldn't be paying people who aren't alive. That just doesn't make any sense. But let's rotate.
And that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, you know, one of the things is like we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this
Let's
obviously
pause. So Musk said something about Social Security that I thought was also really important. He said, we want to make sure that people get their payments quickly and accurately. And he's right about that. I mean, there are a lot of really, really sad stories of senior citizens depending and relying on Social Security, and sometimes the payments aren't on time, and they needed to get their monthly meds, or if they're living in some type of assistant living or reduced housing, they need to make their rent, pay their rent, and they can't make it because the check is late. Or something occurs and the amount that they used to get is no longer the same for reasons that they don't understand. And so it's important that we correct the system so that we're not paying people who aren't living, but two, that the payments do go out quickly and they go out accurately, because there are a lot of seniors in this country that have worked really, really hard who rely on their Social Security every single month to live a decent life, but to also pay for their medication. We want to be a country that's taking care of our citizens. One of the best ways to do that is to cut waste. Let's go ahead and rotate.
there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, well, okay, well, let's, if people can retire, you know, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told no, the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that?
Pause.
Well,
That's insane to me. And what Elon Musk is about to say next is going to blow your mind. Elon Musk is saying, yes, we need a lot of people to work for the federal government, but we have too many. We don't need all of the people that we currently have working for the federal government. So let's release rather some of those people and relieve them of their jobs. We're going to take care of them by letting them go into retirement, and we're going to honor paying out that retirement, but we don't need every one of those individuals. We can recoup that money and utilize that money in other ways to save the American taxpayers. But you can't do that on a large scale because you can only retire 10,000 of them at a time. And listen to the reasons why. Let's rotate.
because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone.
Pause. Now, Elon Musk isn't lying. So this place, I wrote this down, guys, is located 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's called Boyers, Pennsylvania, and it's managed by the Office of Personnel Management. They manage all the bureaucrats in the country. And it is just insane to me that they're still doing this manually. Let's pull up the image, though, of this place, because I want you guys to just see what this place actually looks like. Guys, it is legitimately like in a mountain. It's in a mountain. You can see all of the stacks and rows where all of the paperwork is currently held. And yes, Elon Musk is telling the truth. They manually do this, and they can only do 10,000 at a time per month. If Elon Musk is trying to reduce the size of government and you want to alleviate a large number of people, the way the system currently is, you can't do that. And let's just say Elon Musk wasn't even doing this. This still is inefficient. It probably costs a lot of money. A lot could go wrong. You can lose information. Why is this stuff computerized? Why isn't there like a data vault where we're able to do this in a more cost-effective way? That's the government. I mean, they're still doing this like it was the 1950s, which in fact is when this place was built in like the middle 1950s. They're still operating in the same manner, at the same capacity, which baffles me considering the fact that the country is a lot larger than it is today, and a lot more people are retiring because of the sheer size of the federal government and its workforce compared to what it was in the 1950s and 60s. That's just crazy. But let's go back to the tape to hear what else Elon Musk had to say.
Mine, where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire.
Pause. I mean, guys, do you get what Elon Musk has said? I mean, he's literally saying if the elevator breaks down, then you can't even retire people. So forget what DOGE is doing in terms of trying to find government waste, fraud, and abuse and make the government agencies and the government in general run more efficiently and effectively for the American people. If you right now work for the federal government and that elevator breaks down in Boyers, Pennsylvania, then there will be a delay in you retiring. That alone just goes to show you just how messed up this entire process is and why it's so needed that Elon Musk is there trying to clean this stuff up, because no one else has attempted to, because no one really cared until now. Now we're going to make some noise about this and make the government run the way it needs to. Make the government run again. That should be the motto. Let's roll tape.
Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this. So I think if we can take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way.
Pause. And Elon Musk is right. Just like I'm saying, you could do anything else but have this stuff in a mine where people are manually processing these retirees and these retirements at $10,000 a month when there are far more people retiring at the time. This is just not a good way to manage or run anything. No one would do this, whether you own a business or even in your own household. No one would do this, because the power of technology has enabled us to do things at such lightning speed with so much accuracy and in a smooth way where if you lose records, there's a way to recover them. If something happens in that mine and you lose paperwork or a fire starts, all those records are gone. I mean, that alone is just enough to make this stuff run even better, but let's rotate.
So anyway, so I think, that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity, is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal.
And that's it. That's it. That's what Elon Musk is trying to do here. He's talking about prosperity, productivity, and increase in output. So if anyone out there is wondering, well, what exactly is Elon Musk and DOGE doing? What are they trying to do? They're not doing anything nefarious. Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, born in South Africa, loves this country. And he said it before, he's grateful to the United States of America because the United States has given him things that he couldn't have gotten in South Africa, or maybe anywhere else in the world, that he only could have gotten here. Only in America could he have become the richest man in the world. And so he appreciates not only this country, but the people in this country. And a part of that appreciation is saying, wait a minute here, the people deserve better. The people do deserve to prosper. But you can't prosper if the services that we rely on aren't running the way that they should. Let's make it better. You can't prosper if productivity is not the way it needs to. So how do we increase that output for the people so that they can prosper? That's a good thing. So Elon Musk, I say kudos to you, man. I tip my hat. Keep going with DOGE. The American people will ultimately benefit from this. You got a lot of support out there. You're going to have some detractors. That comes with everything. But keep going, because I think at the end of the day, the aims are really, really good. And what you ultimately accomplish here, I think we will feel and see for years to come. So I tip my hat. I'm Shermichael Singleton. This is the Shermichael Singleton Show. Drop your comments below and let me know what you think about DOGE and the crazy amount of fraud, waste, and abuse that Elon Musk has sort of alluded to. The fact that our government just does not run efficiently nor effectively at all. Are you happy that there's somebody out there finally putting a magnifying glass on all these problems and saying enough is enough? Let's make America great again. Let's make America run more efficiently again so that all people in this country can prosper. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Take care. Until next time.